welcome to today's Kitchen Connect. I've just seen that the cameraman's cut down the intro a bit, so
you've got more time to talk.
My oopsie didn't happen. So my name's Tracy,
and I'm Bryony.
Bryony, and we're here today to make a Swedish seed loaf. It was a bit of a tongue twister earlier,
Swedish
wasn't
seed
it?
loaf.
I said it was a Swedish Swede loaf. I really like it. So thank you firstly to Gail White, who provided us with the recipe. She just emailed me through and she went, "You've got to make this recipe. It's fab." And you're totally right, Gail. So thank you so much for...
Did she send the dip as well?
No, Belinda Jeffrey. It's Belinda Jeffrey's dip. It's actually called a dip, but I've called it a spread because that bread is not really for dipping on. You need to spread things on it.
Yes.
So we have not our recipes today, don't we? Not our recipes today. It's absolutely delicious, fantastic. Bry's going to show you first off how to make the Swedish seed loaf. It's very, very quick.
That's it. So we're going to line a loaf tin. And so I've just got one piece of baking sheet that way and one the other way. And it will just slide out. Now, quick question, because I've been talking how I've been making a lot of bread. So when it's, because these tins are fine for bread loaves, but if it's a wet mix, is that going to stick more to these tins? Because the a bread loaf will just slide out.
Yes.
But we're lining this for...
We're lining it. That is called a bread, but let's get this right. It's
more of a cake.
First off,
cakey,
exactly. It's a bread as in a loaf. I guess it's like a bit like banana bread or banana loaf.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. Because we're not using any yeast with it. We're not using sourdough with it. The main raising agent, or the only raising agent, is bicarbonate of soda, which we will
So it would
talk about as
definitely
we go
stick
through.
to this tin.
Absolutely, 100%. Big time. If you've got a non-stick loaf tin, you'll be all right. But you definitely can't make it in something like that loaf tin, which I would say would be a cross between a mixture of some steel and some, what's the other stuff called? The softer metal. Mr. Cameraman's here as well. What's it called?
Soft metal, carbon.
Yeah, the one that you shouldn't cook in. Oh, aluminium. So aluminium is a really good conductor of heat, and the Anilon pans that aren't made, Anilon doesn't exist anymore, I don't think, which is a real shame, but that pan is a really great pan to cook in because it's got some aluminium in it, so it's a great conductor of heat. Hence, I will always line aluminium pans with
All right,
baking
so this
paper.
is a different construction to the actual bread pans that we use.
Yes, and
right,
the insides of
Side
the...
note.
Yeah, that's why I was a bit confused when Bri asked me that question. Inside of the bread pans, it's got a very smooth surface,
All right,
whereas that
they look
inside
just
is
like
not
the
very
bronze.
smooth, and a bread tin is much deeper. That's a loaf pan as opposed to a bread tin.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Glad we got that sorted.
Yeah, sorry.
that's all right.
So I've got wholemeal spelt flour here, or you can use, what was the other flour?
Rye.
Rye.
Yep. Just two really good sort of darker flours. Rye's got a beautiful flavour. I have made this with rye before
and
as
the
well.
spelt's got a bit of a nuttiness to it.
It has, and they're just less refined flours as well, so they're a bit better for you. I really like it sort of seems very Swedish, this to me, not white plain flour. You know, it's like spelt or rye. You certainly could, but I don't think you'd find it quite as delicious as it is now.
Yeah, the nutty.
And
okay, so I've just put in some oats, so the
rolled oats.
Rolled oats.
Yeah.
I was going to say not instant.
We've
oats.
just used, don't use instant, but we've used Uncle Toby's, actually. Just like plain old Uncle Toby's.
We've got sunflower seeds and linseeds, which is otherwise known as flax seeds.
You can get all of this at the supermarket now, can't you? It's
absolutely.
not definitely the supermarkets have upped their ante with some really good,
and
healthy.
Of course, some Murray River pink salt flakes. I've got a teaspoon and a half there. We've got some bicarb. And why bicarb, Tracy?
So the bicarb of soda, you've got to be a little bit careful with bicarb of soda.
I learnt.
Yeah, because Bicarb of soda is first, it's actually an alkaline, by the way, and I've told you, the guys who have watched this before, you know this already, but the baking powder is made up of bicarb of soda and cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is the acid, bicarb of soda is the alkaline. And so the bicarb of soda gets activated twice. So it gets activated the first time. As soon as liquid gets added to it, it will start activating and start creating CO2. So it starts forming these air bubbles, which so we're not going to quite put the moisture in until I say ready, set, go. And as the moisture goes in there, so the bubbles start forming. Now, if your oven isn't quite up to heat, or you've got the phone rings or something else happens to take you away from it, basically don't add the liquid until you know that you can get it in the oven.
This all happened to me when we were making the
ASAP
one earlier today, so I didn't get as much of a rise
as of a lift. That's right. So, but it's a great, lesson. And the second part of the rising is when it goes into the heat, into the oven. So it'll give it a second sort of boost. But whenever you're using baking powder or bicarb of soda, it's always a really good idea to get whatever you've got in the oven relatively quickly, because it'll start activating straight away. And if you leave it, it's going to go, whoa, like that. This is really exciting. I've got moisture, and then go, oh, I can't do it anymore, and sink back down again.
So mine kind of deflated. So obviously we had to make one earlier because this takes 50 minutes.
Yeah, it does take quite a long time to cook because it's quite a wet mixture.
Moist, yeah.
So you'll see that is quite thick. So it's buttermilk we're putting into there. And the buttermilk...
and maple syrup is our sweetener.
Yeah, maple syrup. The buttermilk is... the acid in that will really make the bicarb of soda pop. So as you're mixing it through as well, you're going to actually sort of see and feel after a few seconds that it's bubbling already. I know, it's strange, isn't it? So it's quite a wet mixture, and it can just be poured straight into the double-lined tin. It's just quite easy to do that double lining so that it's easy to take it out, and you don't have any corners that you try and sort of squish together. Much prefer doing that double lining. Much easier to actually get it out. One thin strip along and a wider strip across.
Absolutely. So
that can go straight into the oven now.
So 180 preheated.
Ta-ta! That's it. How easy is that? Honestly, you pay an absolute fortune, I reckon, if you went into a shop and bought this. The maple syrup is really quite lovely because this is superb. The loaf is superb with, in the picture, if you're a Cooks Collective member, you'll have the recipe. And in the picture, I've actually served it with some blue cheese. Because delicious, because the sweetness in the bread and the saltiness is just beautiful.
What do you think about sorry,
no, go on. It's just
replacing the maple with honey? I'm not a honey lover, but I know friends that are adamant on honey, but it has such a flavor to me that I don't particularly like many honey things. But if you like honey, you could quite easily replace it with honey.
Okay, so the thing to note on this is that when Gail gave this to me, it had, I think it was golden syrup. Golden syrup is the sweetness, and I went, not using golden syrup, very refined sugar, and maple syrup or honey is probably the most natural form of sugar that you can get.
Yes, well, that's why I like maple.
Yeah, I like maple syrup because it doesn't add that flavor. All it adds is a sweetness. Whereas a honey, if you use different honeys, you're going to get a slightly different flavor. But our lovely friends down in Southern Forest honey, make the most beautiful honey, and I have actually really enjoyed their Marie. Is it Marie honey? Yeah. Yes, absolutely delicious. I really like that honey, and I'm not a honey girl either. I wasn't brought up on honey. We rarely had honey at home.
Honey, if I want something sweet on some fresh bread, bit of honey's
treat,
alright.
Isn't it? Yeah, butter and honey on.
If I haven't got anything sweet,
that is good.
Butter and honey on my fresh sourdough.
Really, really nice. So while that's in the oven, we do have one we prepared earlier so that we can say that. I'll just welcome everyone if you've just joined us. We're making a Swedish seed loaf, which is a recipe from a customer of ours, Gail White. And I'm also just about to start to make a smoky almond and carrot dip, which we were taught by Belinda Jeffrey when we went to a Byron Bay food tour late last year.
We were taught when we went to a bar.
Yeah, no, we weren't in a bar. We were in an old village hall. It was just the most beautiful lesson. The cameraman is here. If anyone, please, if you're watching this live and you'd like to ask us questions, please let us know that you're there and use the chat function. And if you have any questions as we are going through the show, then please ask away and the cameraman will be able to let us know.
Oh, we have something
talking.
already. He's put his hand up.
I just want to welcome the Cooks Collective members and Matters of Taste viewers, plus we're live streaming to Castle Hill Community Bigton Facebook page and also Hillside Farmers Direct down in Narrogin.
Oh, fantastic. So we're in the country and we're in the city and we're by the river and yeah, fantastic. So welcome everyone. Hope you are enjoying the show. And for Cooks Collective, if you're a Cooks Collective member, then you will have the recipe online as well already. And you can go back and watch this video again if you want to refresh your memory on how we made anything. So if you're not a Cooks Collective member, let's be sensible now. Why don't you just join? Because we have a lot of fun in the Cooks Collective, and you can ask us questions at any time that you want to, and we can help you with your cooking.
Found it quite helpful when I was at home for such a long period of time with children to cook for. Like, I ended up saving my favourite stuff and pizzas and flatbreads and hummus and just the thing. The kids aren't very adventurous.
Yeah,
but
well,
at least
if you know that the recipe works, we know that
I know the recipe works. That's right. And the chicken meatballs.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, I did those.
Yeah,
chicken. Oh, they were turkey parmesan here. Weren't
Okay.
they? Yeah, I did chicken parmesan.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's so much on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this is how Belinda taught us to make her smoky almond and carrot dip, and even just the name of it, I just think, oh, lovely. And I thought, oh, maybe she uses smoked almonds, but of course she doesn't, because we've got some fresh almonds here with the skin on, and we've just roasted them for sort of 8-ish minutes. You can see one of them's broken in half here. So you can see that the nuts are sort of nicely roasted all the way through. You can tell when they're just about done because the skins actually start to split open as well. So that gives you a little bit of an idea that your nuts are ready. And they smell good too, don't they? Use your timer, and you can smell when your nuts are ready when you're roasting them. So in goes the whole nuts. I really like just chucking all of this in together because it just makes so much sense because it's really easy then. We've roasted some carrots. So big chunky bits of carrots. You can even make them bigger than these chunky bits. We want a little bit of caramelization. Thanks, Bri. Want a little bit of caramelization on the carrots, but you still want to keep them lovely and the orange color on the inside. And we're using the Southern Forest carrots that we get in the produce boxes as well, which are absolutely delicious. They really taste of carrots. Oh no, it's just like when you buy them anywhere else, they just really, not very good. The carrots, and I'm only saying about the larger pieces because exactly the same thing happened in our class with Belinda. Someone who was in the group with us cut up the carrots and they were a little bit small, and Belinda said leave them quite large, just makes it really quick and easy. So you've got a carrot, you just go chunk, 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 about a metre and a half, I was going to say, but that's social distancing, isn't it? I just got a bit confused with carrots and social distancing then. So 1.5 centimetre thick slices of carrot in the oven, roast them at about 180 for about 30 minutes or something like that. As long as they're soft, they've got a little bit of colour on them, then you'll get this amazing orange, beautiful orange flavour, or not orange flavour, but carrot flavour and orange colour in the dip as well. The almonds are plain. The carrots have just been tossed with a little bit of
salt and pepper.
Yeah. and anything
Olive
else?
oil.
And olive oil, and on a biggish tray, so they're not
Crowded,
steaming,
yeah.
are they? They Bri's got a lovely
Space.
colour on them. These little chickpeas I actually soaked and cooked at home earlier
From
in the
dried
week,
chickpeas.
or
Yeah.
from I can't remember what I was making with them, but I just thought I'll soak and cook a few more chickpeas because I really like this dip, and I think if you can soak dried chickpeas, which usually come from the Ord Valley area in Australia, so it's WA, isn't it? Ord Valley.
I don't know.
Don't know. Someone might be able to tell us on there. I'm pretty sure
Somebody
it is.
Google that for us. Yeah.
And the difference between tinned chickpeas and dried, soaked, simmered for 20 minutes in unsalted water chickpeas, miles apart.
Absolutely.
Very different.
And as you said, like when you were doing something in the week, doing some more, I always recommend any sort of legume, cook, soak and cook double, and then I freeze the cooked beans in portions. So you've got it on
You
hand.
just want to add
so,
a few
you know,
little,
That's right.
yeah. Very good.
So I
for
have
you.
like kidney beans or lima beans or something like that in the freezer ready to go.
Yeah,
So
really nice.
and chickpeas for curries and so on.
Yeah,
Throw them
really,
in.
really nice. So,
Meat-free Monday.
yeah, absolutely. And these will add a lovely sort of nutty flavour with the almonds as well, obviously. Then I've got a tiny,
It's
it's
baby.
very small, isn't it? Very small garlic clove here, which I'm quite glad of because, you know, sometimes we're allowed to kiss people again, aren't we? Almost. And
Not
sometime-
strangers.
Okay, I'll refrain from that then for a little while longer. So I'm just going to chop up this little tiny, because sometimes it can overwhelm, can't it, garlic? I mean, even just that, the aroma of that garlic is really quite strong. So we'll just make sure that I will be able to kiss somebody I know one day. And we've got...
Cameraman's laughing.
And we want about a tablespoon of lemon juice.
I think that was a bit over.
I love lemon. Tablespoon and a bit of lemon juice. We've got a few chili flakes if you want to, optional extra. Okay, so you don't need to, about 3/4 of a teaspoon of that, of smoked
I
paprika.
just thought I'd do something because
Yeah,
my
no,
job
I
was
like
so
it.
easy.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it when you help me.
Right.
Just be a bit careful with the chili flakes. If you do put chili in here, be aware that the chili will, as the chili flakes start to reconstitute in the moisture of all the fresh ingredients in there, they will start to the heat will start to be released as well. So if you taste it just after making it, you go, oh, not enough chili, and put more chili in. By the time you get to eat it, and you know, however long's time, an hour's time or whatever, then you know, you might go, whoopsie, overdid the chili a bit. But if you want to have that chili heat straight away, cayenne pepper, use that. Then you can, because it's a pepper, isn't it? And it's just like in, and that's it. Whereas dried chili flakes take a little bit of while to reconstitute and allow their heat to release into the dip. The smoked paprika, we're using herbies, aren't we?
Yeah, beautiful aroma from that. That's where you're getting that smokiness from that you thought was
Absolutely.
smoked nuts. But
Yeah.
it's a traditional oak wood oven drying process.
It's just such
it's
a nice
beautiful.
smoked paprika, that one, the herby spices. If you're local, I know that you can get a really good range, especially as we're going to Castle Hill Shopping Centre today. Why do I keep saying Castle Hill Shopping Centre? Because that's where Matters of Taste was before we're here in Mount Pleasant. So Castle Hill Facebook page, down at Foodie's Basket, they have a really good range of herby spices. So go down there and get some beautiful spices. You'll love
Otherwise,
those
you can
spices.
go to the boat shed and Fresh Provisions.
I think I don't know whether they're at Fresh Provisions.
They used to be.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. On Ian Hempel's website, on Herbie Spice's website, they've got all the retailers. But I tell you what, good spice makes such a lot of difference.
Yeah,
to
but
me.
they express deliver to you.
Yeah,
So
you can
just
do it
go
like that.
straight online, order exactly what you want so you don't have to go hunting around at different stores.
Absolutely.
You get the right spice.
All right, I'm going to put a decent, I would say, I don't know, it's probably about a teaspoonful of
But
salt
you've got
flakes
that in the
there.
recipe.
I
the
have, but
amount.
doesn't it? Does it say the
Salt and
amount?
pepper,
Because
let me have a look.
I probably just
Yeah.
I probably just guessed it, didn't I? And I've got some beautiful parsley that I picked from the garden earlier
it's
this
in
morning.
Yeah.
Is it?
That was 3 grams of salt flakes.
And that's
and
about
6
a teaspoon.
grinds of pepper.
How many grinds did I put in?
Did you do it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought I
sorry,
did. Yeah. I
Crushed
put
garlic,
5.
clove, chili flakes, chickpeas, lemon juice, smoked paprika, 100 ml of olive oil, extra virgin, and chopped almonds. You didn't chop your almonds.
No, I'm living on the edge.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, process briefly to a coarse texture.
Or you can
Or
go
a
on
smooth
and
paste.
or a smooth paste. Look at the colours in there already. I really love this. So we're using some good extra virgin olive oil, Cobram Estate, which you can get at major supermarkets. All Australian grown olives, which we like. Very beautiful fresh olive oil, makes a huge difference. And on goes the lid.
As opposed to something that's been imported, and how long did it take to get here, and how long did it sit in a hot boat? And
Did kind people pick the olives?
yeah.
You know, there might be really unkind people who pick the olives and really cruel to them as they pick them. Shook the tree a bit too hard or something like that. Yeah, because they're all nice in Australia, the people at Cobram Estate. On goes my mixer. There's a coarse paste. That looks fab, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like one of those chunky dips.
It does, doesn't it? Look, so you definitely can use. Should we bring it over to the side? I think that's definitely worth a look in here, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to need a
Don't you think?
spatula anyway.
Yum. So you could do, I mean, it's almost like you could use that. I'm sort of thinking on croûtes or like, you know, for with a salad or on a plate where you've got lots of different things on to eat. I really like it coarse like that, but we're going to go on because it's a spread. But I guess you could spread that too, couldn't you?
Yeah, and I'm thinking that sort of thing, like any
Unpulsing.
leftover dips I normally put through something with pasta or something.
I'm
Like,
sort
those
of gonna-
cashew dips with
Yeah.
parmesan. That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
Cashew
I mean, like a
parmesan.
dollop on top of a risotto or something like that. I quite like that idea.
Even just in a
I
baked potato.
Yeah, see? Phew, just
So many things.
poof. There we go. I'm not going to go very much further than that because I love
You
a bit
like
of
it
texture.
chunky?
I do. Do you like it smooth? Because we could take half out and we could
No.
just try. Just you know.
I'm
that's just
happy.
it.
Easy.
Are you going to? Can you just scrape that into the bowl, please? And then I'm going to add a little bit more of my beautiful flat leaf parsley. Really like the flat leaf parsley as opposed to the curly leaf. It's got a much nicer texture, and probably could have added a bit more of that in there. But also, I reckon we should go like this and add
A
a bit
drizzle.
more. I didn't even taste it.
Well, I'm sure you did the perfect amount of salt, didn't you?
Do you think?
Oops.
How good
Wow.
is that? Oh, I
That is
love it.
Smoky.
Oh, I love it.
What are we spreading with?
What
This?
is wrong with me?
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, in shot, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to bring in the bread, which is not as...
It's going to be stunning together. This smokiness is absolutely divine.
at
I'm
this
just gonna
one,
go like that a
see.
bit.
Let it
I just
rose more than... Oh, yeah, it's already higher than the one that I did. That's what happens when you get distracted and the oven's not hot enough. And
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? That's okay.
bicarb lesson.
That's okay. Oh my gosh. I
As
just
you
wanna
said,
eat
it'll
that
still
whole
taste
dip.
great.
I just want to eat that whole dip. Oh, spread dip. Okay. The cameraman's giving us the, I don't know, the
Move it this
cue
way.
to move it
that
here
way.
and there and everywhere. Now, this is very interesting because as this has cooked like this, we've got all the seeds, the brown seeds, and I think Gail's recipe. This is what I do. I'm not very good because I always make someone's recipe and just twist it around a little bit. So Gail's recipe for this beautiful bread was she had linseed meal in the bread.
Oh, okay.
And and that's possibly why ours is a little bit runnier. I actually only had linseeds. I didn't. I've made it twice, and I think the first time I made it I actually ground the linseeds. But if you've got like an LSA mix or something like that, or ground linseeds, you can definitely put a quarter of a cup of ground linseeds in there. But I quite like the whole linseed idea as well, so I just use
when
whole
you're saying
linseeds.
the reason it's runnier is because if it was linseed meal, it would act like a flour and take up a lot more moisture.
Correct.
And if mine that sat for a little bit before it went in the oven, the linseeds actually soak up liquid.
Yeah.
And expand. You can use them kind of like as an egg replacement or something. We have a question.
Well, it's not a question, but Natalie's wondering.
Hello, Natalie.
If you could thinly slice that loaf and then bake it again.
I know what she's going to say. Yeah, you can, because I've tried it already. Because that, as a cook, that would be like the next step would be to make
like we did with our cornbread
crackers.
Oh,
but low. So it needs to be probably about 160, 150 degrees, 160 degree oven, and sort of bake them so that they dry out rather than crisp up and go black. So 150, 160 degrees, keep your eye on them, and just take, it definitely has to be thinner than that, Nat, obviously. So as thin as you possibly can go. This is a rubbish old bread knife, because I couldn't find our new bread knives, and as I was prepping, so I've cut it a little bit thicker. But absolutely have a try with the bread. And I've brought in some of my watercress from our garden.
Shade.
Well, shed
house.
From our shade house. So we got watercress growing again. It's just so exciting. I just love it so much.
Some greenery. It's always nice to have that texture on top.
I'm definitely having some. And this bread's still nice and warm as well. But the bread on its own is absolutely delicious. You don't have to do this spready thing, but the spread is fantastic. I think will be. You know what I'd like it on as well? Maybe like some savoury scones or damper as well, something like that. I don't know. Just on sourdough toast.
Sourdough, yeah.
Really good. This is why I
now
don't
we're both
eat.
eating.
This is why I don't eat on the show normally. Because I always think, no, I've got to tell them this, I've got to tell them that. That is really good. And
very nutty.
I also want to tell you that the bread keeps really, really well in the fridge. So try not to cut, obviously it will keep better if it's whole rather than cutting it into slices. Otherwise you can cut it into slices, wrap them in foil, pop them in the freezer, and then you've got something very super duper to take to work for lunch or lunch boxes if your kids
pop
like
that in the toaster or something.
You can, but it's not quite the same as a bread that has been made with a sourdough starter or yeast. So it hasn't got that wide a crumb to it. It's a much more of a almost soft sort of cakey type crumb to it. But I don't know whether you can see there, some sort of magic happens as the bread sort of cools down and the sunflower seeds turn green. And Gail and I were like, I said to Gail, did your sunflower seeds turn green when you made it? She went, yes, they did. Why did that happen? And it happens because of the bicarb of soda reacting with the chlorophyll that is in the sunflower seeds, and it turns them green. Beautiful colour. So when you cut it, when it's cold, it's like got these green, it almost looks like pepitas in there, but they're not. They're sunflower seeds.
Pepitas would be good too.
Pepitas would definitely be good in there as well. I think we have another question.
Well, it wasn't a question. It's just Greg saying great with blue cheese, as you've said.
Totally, Greg. Absolutely. And I'm a blue cheese lover. I absolutely and tomato. Oh,
just love the
delicious.
And Natalie's asked, would any other nut work?
Nut. Well,
in the dip, are we talking nuts? Because we haven't got nuts in here.
No, so instead of almonds, I'm sure you could put anything.
Hazelnuts would be really good. Hazelnut and carrot is beautiful together. Cashews would be absolutely fantastic.
That reminds me of that cashew parmesan dip. So that's what comes to mind first, and I'm a bit of a cashew lover.
Yeah, because cashews are slightly softer as well. So, okay.
Yeah, so that would make it more of a, you could make it into more of a spread type thing as well.
Yeah,
with
you
the
definitely
soft
can.
cashews.
You definitely can. So what we're going to do, just to finish off, we're going to cross over to...
Yes.
Yeah, I know, we keep forgetting it. Well,
Well,
not
I
that we
ate
keep
this.
forgetting. I'm just like, I'm really excited about this. So we're working with Ruth Hall at the Wine Box, and she is matching some beautiful drinks to go with the food that we cook each week. So this week she's got a really great idea. I think this would be such a good idea to get
find
the
out
neighbours together
what I'm gonna
in
have
your
with this.
driveway or whatever. I saw some neighbours just down the road from us on Sunday. They had a brazier out on someone's front, like the front of their driveway, and they had there were three or four groups of neighbours opposite the road, and they all sat round with their social distancing and their brazier on the end of someone's driveway, and they were having drinkies on Sunday night. And I just think something like
What's
this.
a brazier?
Brazier, not a brazier.
Yeah, not a brazier.
A brazier.
Fire
Like a
pit,
fire
right,
pit, yeah.
okay, sorry.
Yeah, see, a camping girl from way back. So, and I thought that would be
City
really
girl.
funky. So you've got to listen to Ruth now and see what she is teaming up to go with this. And eating this, I think she's got it spot on.
Hi, it's Ruth Hall here from the Wine Box in South Perth. I am presenting a drink today for food and wine matching for Matters of Taste. The dish today is the Swedish seed loaf with the smoky almond and carrot spread. I thought it was a really interesting mix of flavours, so I've chosen not to overwhelm the flavours but to complement the flavours with a nice crisp, dry but earthy little cider from Margaret River, where they use the most beautiful apples with no preservatives, no additives, and they oak them in French wine barrels for 6 to 8 months. So it's got a lovely depth, a nice earthiness, and I think it would be a beautiful counterpart for the smoky almond carrot dip.
So there you go. What a great idea. George the Fox. Go and see Ruth at the Wine Box in South Perth. It's within the Good Grocer, and she is absolutely a mine of information about drinks and wine and food and drink matching. We've got some fabulous stuff coming up. I lied last week and I said that we had lasagna, didn't I, this week?
Vegetable lasagna, and that's next week.
I'm really sorry. So people who've tuned in to watch vegetable lasagna probably aren't watching this anymore. They've just gone, oh, she lied.
Not again.
But I'm telling the absolute truth now. Next week we've got vegetable lasagna. So make this week. We'd love to hear how you go with this beautiful recipe. I'm sure everyone will love it. Thanks to Gail, thanks to Belinda, and thanks to Bri, because he's back in. And we are excited to start classes on the 4th of July again after now we can reopen. So if anyone is thinking of coming to a cooking class as well, you can certainly book in online right now to come to a live cooking class at Matters of Taste. We are doing them until the 19th of December. But if you can't make it in for a live one, then join the Cooks Collective, because you'll find us on there chattering away, enjoying cooking together, apart, and together again. There's lots of brilliant stuff on there. But thank you so much for watching, everyone.
We'll see you
Thank
next
you,
week.
Bri. Yeah,
That's
we'll
all
see
right.
you next week for my vegetable lasagna.